managed to hold on to it ever since. Now, interestingly, he was actually equaled or surpassed in his performance both when he won it and the subsequent year, which was this year, 2008, by other people who got an even bigger applause and more standing ovations than he did. A year ago, that was Dr. Julia Hare, who was on the afternoon panel, whereas Reverend Al Sharpton was on the morning panel. Reverend Al Sharpton clearly won the day on his panel. Dr. Hare won the day on her panel. However, she was not a person perceived as challenging for leadership or spokespersonship over all black people. She just did an outstanding job of saying what she had to say and got a tremendous response from the audience. Similarly, this year, 2008, again at Tavis Smiley's event, Reverend Al Sharpton was the star of the show on the first panel, although Michael Eric Dyson narrowed the gap. In other words, he did a much better job of challenging Al Sharpton, got more applause and more standing ovations than he had the previous year when he competed with Al for the preeminent position. But still, Al won the day. And I would concede that Al bested Dyson on that occasion. But there was another person who outdid both of them in terms of the response that he got from the audience, and that was Dick Gregory, the comedian. But like Dr. Hare the year before, Dick Gregory is not a candidate for Paramount Chief or for black leader or black spokesperson. He has always been an independent voice in support of or in opposition to whatever he chose to support or oppose. But he never presented himself as a black leader or spokesperson for black people. So even though he bested Al Sharpton and Michael Eric Dyson, the fact that he was not a candidate for the position that those two guys were vying for meant that whoever bested each other between those two still won. So Al Sharpton is, as you and I speak here today, the current Paramount Chief, that is to say the top dog, the HNIC, of all of those black men and women in America who would be considered chiefs or leaders or spokespersons about or for, or to, for that matter, the Black Summer 9th of 2006. Essentially, the movement to bring back black is a movement to bring back the glory and the glory days of blackness. One of the things that is the most, perhaps the most debilitating thing with black people, or the thing that affects us the most in a bad way, is the fact that black people typically tend to be ashamed of and embarrassed about being black. And we seek in every way that we can to try to escape from our blackness to the extent, again, that that's possible. It can't be possible physically, obviously, so we do it in every other way that we can. Well, we feel that until and unless black people divest ourselves of this resistance and shame and embarrassment about being black, we can never hope to change our condition relative to other people, and certainly we can never hope to build a foundation for our children to have any kind of success in life that does not put them at a position of having to depend upon the gratuity and the pity of other people, in particular of white people. So the movement to bring back black is a movement that we feel is spreading across the country, and hopefully this tape that you're doing today will help to facilitate that spread, to get more of our people who feel this sense of self-righteousness about being black and don't want to be ashamed of or embarrassed about being black, to be willing to fight back and know that you have allies and friends and associates who will stand shoulder to shoulder with you, and we will bring back the beauty of blackness. We will restore black people to a sense of power. We will again give our children cause to sing how wonderful it is to be young, gifted, and black. We will bring back the beauty and the goodness of blackness and cast off forever the negativity that has been associated with our people. So that is the essence of why we insist that there must be a movement, a successful movement, to bring back the positives and the constructives about being black. To bring back black is a movement. It is not an organization, and I want to make sure that that's clear. It is a movement. Anybody can be a part of that movement who essentially agrees with its basic premise, which is that we as a people, black folks ourselves, must bring back the positives about being black so that our children do not continue to come into this world and inherit the albatross of hating themselves and anything that looks and acts like themselves. And then they go through a self-destructive lifestyle based on and rooted in the self-hatred that they inherit when they come into the world, which has that as its operating premise. We have to solve that problem. We cannot expect white people to solve the problem for us. They created the problem, and they had vested interest in creating that problem. We have as much of a vested interest, if not more, in solving that problem. So the movement is such that we want that to swell and just sweep the country. But we can have a perfectly viable movement to bring back black, and yet that movement in and of itself will not necessarily bring back black. Or it may bring back black, but we have nothing constructive, productive, or institutional that evolves from the revival of the movement. So we have to do more than simply bring back a good, warm, fuzzy feeling about our blackness. We have to do something constructive in the process and seize on the opportunities that the resurgence of black pride and self-determination will bring with it. And that is, we have to create an organization. The great Marcus Garvey said it best. The greatest and most effective weapon used against black people is disorganization. He could also have said lack of organization. Therefore, as a consequence, it should follow that if that's the greatest weapon used against us, the greatest tool we can use in our own best interest is to organize ourselves and to do so effectively so that we can address those things that need to be addressed and overcome in order for our people to be restored to their rightful place, as Mr. Garvey said, amongst the constellation of nations and races of the world. So we have created an organization out of this movement to bring back black. We have created an organization. The organization is called the Nationalist Black Leadership Coalition, or NBLC for short. And as we speak, an aggressive membership recruitment drive is being launched and undertaken in communities throughout the country, and especially through the internet and what that avails us in terms of quick and rapid communication to people far and wide. We want to establish membership in every community where there are black people, and we want to establish a chapter of that organization in every community which has a sufficient number of black people or a sufficient sized black community to support a chapter, because a chapter of the NBLC will operate in many ways the way that we are more accustomed to seeing churches operate. They will be meeting on a regular basis, developing programs and initiatives to address the needs and concerns of our people in that local community. And we will do in many ways what the Jewish people do with the American Jewish Council and the United Jewish Appeal, where they raise money every year to support initiatives, social programs, and educational programs and the like that benefit Jewish